Hey there, Eric with you. Thanks so much for joining me. I want to give you a scenario here. I'm sure you've been there. I've definitely been here before. Um, let's say um, let's say a neighbor comes over, a nice neighbor comes over, and they have a dish of warm chocolate chip cookies, and you're the only one home. So you thank your neighbor and you bring it in, and there it is. Just your mouth is watering, and you have one, and they're delicious, and then you have another and another and pretty soon, by the time you know it, you've had five or six. Again, we've all been there, I know it, and in different types of scenarios too. But what I'm getting at is at a certain skill called delayed gratification. And that is simply that ability to not impulsively act, to be able to have patience, to put it off, knowing that at the end there is a higher goal involved. And again, it's very difficult, it's very challenging, but the really interesting part is it's learnable. It can be taught. You can improve upon the skill of delayed gratification, and especially if you start when you're a kid, when you're a child. So as their parents, we really have an incredible opportunity to help really teach our kids delayed gratification, just like any other skill. It can be improved upon with practice. There's a famous study, I think it was in the 1970s. You might have heard of this, called the marshmallow test. You can get on YouTube and watch it. It's amazing. It's interesting. It's comical. But they bring kids into a room, and there's a marshmallow. There's a table and a chair and a marshmallow. And these are toddlers, like 3 and 4 years old. And the person brings them in. It's usually a teacher, and they tell the child that if you do not eat this marshmallow, when I come back, I'll give you two marshmallows. But if you eat it now, that's it. You won't get a second one. And then the teacher leaves the room, closes the door, and of course there are hidden cameras watching these kids. And it is so, some of them cover their eyes, or hide under their table, anything they can do to try not to eat it. And a lot of the kids will eat it, but some of them they can delay that gratification. So when the teacher comes in, they give them two. And it's so interesting to watch. Even more interesting though is this study lasted 20 to 25 years. So they tracked these kids to see how powerful a skill delayed gratification is. And the kids in that study that had the patience, that had the willpower not to eat that marshmallow initially, were so much successful across the board in terms of their physical lifestyle, monetarily, how successful they are, but across the board, they were much more successful and happy than the kids who could not delay that impulse and eat the marshmallow right off the bat. So this skill can pay huge dividends if kids can learn early, and later in life it can be very powerful. So saying all that, how do we teach it? Well, I just wanted to give you a couple pointers that you can start working on with your children to develop delayed gratification with them. The first one is concrete. So let's say your child wants a certain toy. Let's say they want a certain toy, and you tell them no. You want them to start practicing delayed gratification. So you tell them no, but you just don't tell them no. You tell them a specific time that they cannot have that toy. So maybe if their birthday is coming up in a month, you can say, no, we're not getting the toy today. We're going to wait a month for your birthday to come along. And then they know that's concrete. A month is a period of time that the children have a better understanding of. Instead of saying, no, we'll get it another day. Well, another day could mean tomorrow. It could mean, in 2 years. Kids have a difficult time processing that. But if you give them a direct, concrete time or date, it's much easier for them to delay that gratification for the toy. If you give them a month, then that is much more, they're much more to adhere to to fighting off that impulse, if you can again give them a concrete day or time. So that can work very well, especially with smaller kids, if you can do that. Also, I have self-taught here. If you kind of reverse the roles and have the child as the one who's trying to teach delayed gratification, such as let's say you're planning a surprise party, say for your spouse, and you tell your child about it, and you tell them how excited they're going to be, how surprised they're going to be. You know, they're going to come home from work and you're going to have a big cake for them and presents, and it's going to be a huge surprise. And you tell your child this, and then maybe you tweak it a little bit and say, maybe we should tell her. And a lot of times the child will start to catch on and say, no, they'll be so much more excited if we surprise them. So just kind of reversing the roles and having the child more as the mentor, so they can feel that excitement, that they can see the end result also of the delayed gratification. So having them play that primary role as the one who's almost enforcing the delayed gratification can be very powerful for them moving forward, to see what happens if you can delay gratification, that the end result is even much greater than that first impulse. So let them lead the way also. Number 3, I have a little sequence, A to B to C. So let's say another example, your child has some new toys, and a friend is coming, or one of their friends is coming over, and you want your child to share the toys with the new friend, but the child may be a little apprehensive. They love that new toy, they don't really want to share it, they want to play with it all themselves. So A would be the new toy, but you tell them that if you can let your friend, if you can share your toy with your friend, then that friend will be happy, you'll become better friends, and then after your friend leaves, you can play with it yourself. Again, it'll be all yours. So you kind of build up the steps here, A to B to C. The toy initially is theirs. They share it with their friend. It creates more happiness. They have more fun. They become better friends. And then the friend goes home and they get the toy again, all to themselves. So if you kind of set it up in sequences like that and you explain each one to them, they can kind of see that the delayed gratification of sharing the toy will end up as even a better result for them. So setting it up, explaining each step of the way to them can really help them also when they're practicing this skill. And then finally, I've said this in other videos, but modeling as their parents, we have to be able to model this skill. And they of course are so observant as children, they soak everything up. But if they see us delaying gratification, then of course they're so much more so to follow suit, watching what our types of behaviors. So modeling as their parents, and it's tough, I know, but if we can delay gratification and our children see it, they will be, of course, more and more apt to follow our lead. So there you have it, delayed gratification, an incredible skill that again can be built like any other skill. It can be learned through practice, through repetition, through positive feedback, and through following these steps also. So please work on that with your children, and it can be such a powerful skill to have as they get older too. It will really pay off. So I hope that helps you work on it. If you can please pass this on to as many parents as you can. I think again it is a life-altering type of skill. If you can like the video also, please, and if you like what I'm talking about, please subscribe. I'm going to be making many more videos. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.